Hello, sir. Prabhashankar, sir.
Hi, ma'am. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome again. To this 1 week FDP on student induction program. I think there is no need to introduce you now, participants. So, sir has already delivered lecture earlier, and today, sir is going to deliver a beautiful lecture on assessment, evaluation, and testing. So, as teachers, so we must know how to evaluate our students, how to make assessments, etc. And now, we have a right resource person, so to give us tips on how to evaluate and how to test our students. So, over to sir. So, thank you very much, sir, for accepting my invitation, and I take a resource person for this particular topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Over to you, sir. Just a minute, sir. I'll take a snap. Okay, sir. Proceed, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
My screen must be visible. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yeah, visible, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. So once again, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this session where I'm going to discuss about assessment, evaluation, and testing. Being a teacher, assessment and evaluation, these things are really important for all of us. So here in this session, we are also going to discuss about the assessment, not only of the students, but of our courses also, of our teaching also. In what possible manner this assessment can help us in improving our classes, in improving our performance. That is the basic motto of this discussion. And how this assessment and evaluation changes the students' perspective towards certain things. If we are not, positive in approaching the student in terms of assessment and evaluation, the student, out of fear, just changes the discipline. Many of the teachers work as a major factor behind the success or the failure of a student, like their guardian. We are also largely responsible for success or failure. So we have to be very careful when we are assessing the student, when we are passing judgment. Evaluation involves this judgment thing, value judgment. We are going to discuss how assessment is different from evaluation, how measurement is different from assessment or testing. We are going to discuss these terms and their impacts over our teaching and the career of a student. I'll begin with Einstein's saying, where he says, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. This quote from this great scientist poses a kind of challenge to teachers and actually tells the teachers that not everything that counts can be counted. What counts is our assessment. It cannot be counted. Measurement can be counted, but assessment cannot be counted. But it really counts. It decides the future of a student. But everything that can be counted does not count. Everything is not important that can be counted. When you talk about number, measurement, when we assign marks to our students, that sometimes, there might be certain factors because of what the student could not gain a very good marks. So we have to be really wise in terms of evaluation and assessment. So it is really important for us to Ma'am, just give me a minute. I have I'm sorry for this interruption. I think I have another updated this. Is it visible now, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so we were discussing about this quote. This quote really tells us this. We can look at this image, this picture where student is really tensed. Before the exam, after the exam, students are really tensed. We'll talk about certain things, some situations as a part of an activity where assessment of learning, or it should be assessment for learning. We will talk about that situation also. The main goal of our teaching is to make the student learn, not punish him, not award the marks only when it is classroom teaching. When it is evaluating someone's performance for some job or something, then certainly the intention is different. But when it is about the classroom teaching where our students are appearing in the tests just for the sake of evaluation of what they have learned, there the approach of the teacher should slightly be different. These days, we all must be observing lot of tests are prescribed. Every third, fourth week, some test is there. We have surprise tests. These tests do serve a purpose. But if we conduct these tests with certain strategies in mind, so we will discuss those things. It is going to be an interesting session, because we all are interested in this and we all follow certain things. Our methods may be different, but what I'm going to discuss here, it will add to the methods that everyone follows. If we follow these tested methods where researchers have researched a lot, certainly it will add to our performance. And that is the motto of this FDP, Faculty Development Program. So basically development of a teacher. So how as a teacher we can be stronger? That is the motto here in this session. So any assessment and evaluation, if we look at, usually when it comes to assessment and evaluation, red pens, happy or sad faces, gold stars, grades, all these cross our mind. But assessment is more than that. Assessment decides the future of a student. Sometimes, because of certain reasons, a student who is really good in that subject could not perform well due to some factors. We don't know about the factors. Student knows well. So if we have been continuously evaluating the students in our class, it gives us clear picture that what the student knows, a particular student I'm talking about who could not perform well in the exam. So this testing and measurement, these two things, which testing is a tool actually, but measurement can be put by the side of this assessment. Assessment is basically qualitative unit, while measurement is quantitative. Let us look at the definition of these terms: assessment, evaluation, measurement, testing. Then we can discuss it in a better manner. So Merriam-Webster defines testing as a tool. It sees testing as a tool for measuring the skill, knowledge, intelligence, capacities, or aptitudes of an individual or group. So basically, it serves as a tool for measuring this skill, knowledge, intelligence, capacities, or attitudes of an individual or a group. So testing is just a tool. But what we actually do by testing is measurement or assessment. Assessment is the systematic collection, review, and use of information about educational programs undertaken for the purpose of improving student learning and development. Assessment always has a purpose behind it, and that is the improvement of the student. But what is happening most of the time, we forget the basic motto of assessment. So assessment becomes synonymous with measurement, losing its purpose. Without serving its purpose, it is nothing more than a measurement. But that is not the purpose of assessment. Assessment is a very important term. It is very important for both the teacher and the student. In both the cases, when we start assessing our course, our performance, student will improve. With our improvement, student improves. With the instructions that we give to our students for improvement, they improve. So basically, we have to take care of certain things when it comes to assessment. Assessment is defined as gathering information or evidence, and evaluation is the use of that information. So after assessment, evaluation basically, as we discussed, involves value judgment. Finally, the judgment is passed that this student is passed or could not pass. That is the judgment, evaluation finally. He stood first. Evaluation. After comparing the data, after comparing the results, we find that this student stood first. That is value judgment. So, or evidence to make judgments. Snowman, McCown, and Behler, in their research article, they had defined assessment and evaluation in this way. Now, let's look at measurement. Measurement involves assigning numbers. So what we do after testing, assigning marks, when we see that how much student has scored after assigning marks, so that score is basically measurement. Attribute or characteristic of a person in such a way that the numbers describe the degree to which the person possesses the attribute. Basic intention behind this measurement is this: the individual's performance is related to some numbers, and that number is assigned in such a manner that understanding the number, you can easily correlate the individual's performance with it. If someone has secured 75 marks in this particular subject, he is better than one who could secure only 60. It is measurement, not assessment. Assessment involves something more. We will discuss that. Assigning grade equivalence to scores on a standardized achievement test is an example of measurement. So this grading is also measurement only. Now let us look at assessment, evaluation, and measurement. How are they related with each other? Groenland has indicated this relationship in the following equation. Evaluation is equal to quantitative description of pupils plus value judgment. So evaluation involves both. If measurement plus value judgment is there, that is also evaluation. If qualitative description of pupils, that is non-measurement or assessment, plus value judgment is there, that is also evaluation. So evaluation could be seen as end product, where value judgment, where judgment is given. But the process on which this is done, this evaluation is done, these methods or processes are measurement and assessment. Let us look at this, this case study. Through this, we can understand measurement, assessment, and evaluation in better manner. Rohini is a student of class 10th in a government school in the state of Madhya Pradesh. She has received her progress report of the half-yearly examination. After going through Rohini's progress report, other students of her class congratulated her. Rohini's half-yearly progress report reveals that she had scored 91 in mathematics, 71 in science, 68 in social science, 64 in Hindi, 55 in English, and stood first in her class. It was also written in her half-yearly progress report that she has improved significantly in comparison to her performance in the earlier examinations. Receiving appreciation, Rohini became more and more motivated and was inspired to do better in the final examination. Now, let us look at this. The information relating to achievement of Rohini helps us understand the concept of measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Let's examine this. So we can see that evaluation involves, on the one hand, you can see measurement or quantitative description plus value judgment. So evaluation is measurement, quantitative description plus value judgment, and also this is also evaluation, assessment or qualitative description plus value judgment. So in both the cases, as we saw earlier, evaluation seems to be the final product that involves measurement and assessment both. It may involve both at the same time. It may involve one while declaring the result and one in parents-teacher meetings. Sometimes you have to give qualitative description of the student's performance when we meet the parents of our students. Now, when we go back to Rohini's case, can anybody suggest me what is here the part of measurement? What we can consider as measurement, what we can consider as evaluation, and what we can consider as assessment? Sir, ma'am, anybody? I just want to initiate interaction, nothing else. That is only the motto behind.
Sir, measurement in the sense instead of marks going for grading system?
Sir, both grading and marks, assigning number, assigning grades is measurement. So you just read the answer script of a student.
Yes, sir.
You just understood to what extent he has learnt what you taught, and you assigned marks on the basis of your understanding. You assign some mark, and that student is understood by people in terms of that marks. So whatever marks he has gained,
Yes.
he is understood by people in that way. So that is measurement. But in assessment, what happens? We compare the performance of the student in qualitative terms, not quantitative. Here the this measurement is like when we evaluate the performance, we assign marks. But in assessment, the assessment is qualitative term. Here marks are not awarded. We
Sir,
say that, yes, sir.
yes, sir. If we see the marks, maybe in terms of qualitative, can we say there is no consistency?
Yeah, yes, sir. There is consistency in improvement. There is no consistency. All this we can say in place of appreciating the student in terms of marks. We can talk about the qualitative improvement. Or if the
Yes, sir.
student hasn't improved qualitatively, we can talk in that way. But we don't talk in terms of marks or grades. When we talk in terms of grades or marks, that becomes measurement. So measurement is more of mechanical kind. So here in this case, when we talk about 91 in mathematics, 72 in science, 68 in social science, 64 in Hindi, 55 in English, this represents measurement, assignation of marks. And on the basis of these marks, the comparison took place. And it was found, value judgment was taken that Rohini stood first in her class. Right? So this particular value judgment is evaluation. Now, when it comes to assessment, qualitative remarks, here it was also written in her half-yearly progress report that she has improved significantly in comparison to her performance in the earlier examinations. So this improved significantly. This improvement can very well be seen in the marks she has scored. But here we do not say that she has improved significantly. When we say this becomes qualitative remark, not quantitative. Quantitatively, we have already assigned marks. When qualitatively we say, after comparison with her previous marks, that she has improved significantly, this becomes the assessment. And this actually motivates the student. In place of assigning marks, if only this student pays attention to, students will feel motivated. And the same thing happens in the case of Rohini. Receiving appreciation, Rohini became more and more motivated and was inspired to do better in the final examination. So assessment has always a purpose. When we assess the student, we appreciate the student. If the student has improved, if student needs to improve, we have to tell the student that you are still not performing well. You need to work harder. If you need my help anywhere, you let me know what questions you have. There are certain methods we will discuss in the slides to come. Now, let's look at this. Role of assessment in developing your confidence in your ability to learn. This assessment is not always done by others. It can be done by the person who wants to improve. It builds confidence in us. We can look at this case of Brian. So Brian's friend says, "Hi Brian, what is in the bag?" Brian says, "These are my world famous chocolate chip cookies. Here, try one." He offers one to his friend. Another friend comes and she says, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" Brian made some cookies. Here, try one. The other friend offers this cookies. "Wow, Brian, these are great. How did you learn to make these?" Now here it becomes important. Let us pay attention to this. How Brian narrates the story of his improvement, how he learned it. So Brian did not learn it by someone's instruction. He learned it on his own. Certainly, he learned from his mother, but when he came with the recipe to his school or hostel, he was not skilled in making that. But it was his continuous assessment that made him learn it in better manner, and he started experimenting with the flavor. You see, he says, I used to help my mom bake cookies when I was a kid. Then, when I came to college, I brought the recipe with me and started making them for myself. So first, he did not offer it to others. This is also important. We can tell our students also, and we should also follow this method when we are learning something new. Yesterday, actually, I could not complete that part in academic writing. How writing is a process. Writing is actually a process. Process is something, where series of actions are involved. So in writing, we have 3 phases: pre-writing, writing, and post-writing. If we think that our writing is perfect in pre-writing phase itself, where you are only supposed to plan before writing, certainly your writing is not going to be of any worth. In creative writing, some people may think that they are very creative and they can write better story in first attempt itself. But when it comes to academic writing, research writing, it needs a lot of effort. You have to give time to it. So before you offer your piece of writing to someone else to read, it is always better to go through it. Understand its worth first. When you are convinced that what I have written is really good, then only it should be passed on to someone else, your friend or your mentor, whosoever it is. But before giving it to someone else, it is our duty. And it is for our, betterment. If we give something that is not good, we are not confident enough that what I'm giving to someone else for comments is good, we are going to be demoralized and we will stop making effort for sure. So at this point, we should learn, or the same thing we should tell our students, that before you give any draft to me, you ensure that from your side there are no mistakes. Being a teacher, we all observe sometimes our research scholars, whatever rubbish they write, they just dump with the guide. Sir, I have written. And guide feels frustrated. Proper training is required. It is not the fault of the scholar. He is not trained to that extent. It is our job to tell our research scholars that writing is very rigorous process. It's not that whatever crosses your mind, you just sit and write and give it to me. I'll read. It will be perfect. It will be awarded. All this. This is not going to work. If somehow that thesis gets awarded, we are earning very bad name also in international arena platform. When our thesis go, I have heard so many scholars saying that in our country, if we look at thesis research, Indian research, lot of people are not doing good research. The reason is we do not make enough effort. So fault lies with us. We try to get rid of what we are writing at once. Once we wrote, that is final. I myself do not want to read what I have written. I feel frustrated after reading it. So why to read? Give it to someone else. Give it to a publisher. He will see. So if you give it to some good publisher, he will just reject. So there are other options. Predatory journals are there. They are publishing papers. Many of the people go for that option. So in this manner, what is happening? The research is being downgraded. Lot of problems are being created in academia because of these things. So assessment is very, very important for student, for any student or for any teacher. So from Brian, we can learn this and we can make our students understand the importance of self-assessment. Then he says, then when I came to college, I brought the recipe with me and started making them for myself. At first, they didn't turn out very well, and that is bound to happen. In process of writing also, when we write the first draft, it is suggested that never be illusioned that your first draft itself is good. Good means good for publishing. It is good. You can work on it. It needs improvement. Certainly it is good. You have made effort. But it needs further improvement. So he is doing the same thing. Brian says at first they did not turn out very well. This is assessment. Because later on he started preparing it very well. So he realized that what at that stage he was able to assess that it was not really well. But the more I practiced, the better I got. This is the very natural, tendency, and it is very natural with any kind of learning. The more we practice, we learn things in better manner. I have even made some changes to the recipe that I think have improved the test. When you have gained confidence after assessment, you can experiment with it. And the same Brian started with. Role of assessment in teaching and learning. Let us come to teaching and learning. How this assessment impacts the teaching and learning. Angelo and Cross, Davis, Murray, Reynolds, Schulman, all these researchers in the field of education have researched, and they have found that effective teachers share several characteristics, but two of them stand out. Being an effective teacher doesn't mean that someone who is an effective teacher is born teacher, a teacher born. He was not a person who had learnt everything before he was born. He knew everything, and when he teaches, some different kind of environment will be created around him and things will be turning very well automatically. No, an effective teacher basically has certain strategies. So it is the strategy that makes a teacher effective. Certainly some basics are required. We have to have, and all the teachers have those things. Those who are selected, they have basic things. But if we do not follow these strategies, we just go to class, we try to finish the lecture and come back, then certainly the effectiveness will be missing. If we follow certain strategies and we continuously try to improve, then certainly we will improve. So what are those qualities, those two qualities that stand out? So through frequent assessment and feedback, effective teachers regularly assess what they do in the classroom and whether their students are really learning, whether the purpose is being served or not. That is the basic thing. So an effective teacher always keeps this in mind. If he is teaching the class, like he went to a class, he spent 1 hour, and that 1 hour is fully utilized or not, students could learn or not. We have to ensure that. If students are not learning and I'm just coming to the class, speaking and going back, it is wastage of time for both of us. Because the purpose is different. The purpose is to make our students learn what I'm trying to make them learn. If we fail to do that, the purpose is not being served. So we fail as a teacher. So it is our job. Sometimes we find that students are not interested. Some students. It is never the case that all the students are not interested. We'll find some are really interested, but some are not. We have to find out what is the problem with those students. Because there is some kind of gap. And that gap can be filled, those problems can be resolved only with this continuous frequent assessment and feedback from such students. They try to anticipate. Yes, another very, very important and very interesting strategy is to anticipate the topics and concepts that will be difficult for their students. As a teacher, we know that some topics are really difficult for the students. So as a teacher, being more effective, we should try to devise some method in which we can deal with those topics so that it becomes easier for the students to understand. If we think that only once if we teach, students cannot understand that, we can revise that topic, which we anticipate to be very difficult for the students. So these two things are, very common factors for effective teachers, but these are the things which every teacher can follow to be effective. Learning is a cumulative process. How to determine what students know? Because without understanding the level of the student, we cannot teach our students. I would like to narrate here an anecdote. When we were in 12th, there was a student who was from a rural background. I don't know, because rural background doesn't matter here. I too come from rural background. He might be weak in English particularly. So when our teacher used to deliver his lecture, used to teach some lesson to us, he requested once the teacher that, sir, I'm not able to understand your lecture. Please simplify things. So the teacher looked at him and said, why should I downgrade my standard for you? You should upgrade your standard. Now, do you think this kind of remark is worthy enough from a teacher? The job of a teacher is to understand the standard of the student. We have to go to that standard. Because our intention, our aim is to make the student understand. There is nothing like standard. In whatever manner a student can understand what I'm trying to teach, I have to do that, and I should do that as a teacher. Certainly, I have to keep other people in mind, my whole class. If one particular student needs some special attention, being a teacher, it is my duty, moral duty to support him separately. And also in the class, I have to keep in mind that that student is there. He is a slow learner. Sometimes we find some students as a slow learner. We have to keep those people also in mind. So learning is a cumulative process. If we do not try to know whether the preparation of our student is spotty or incomplete, and we start teaching new concepts, new material, what will happen? That new material will conflict with the earlier misconceptions because his preparation is not proper. So it will conflict with earlier misconceptions, or it will be firmly held. It will be it will go and fit in some distorted kind of information that he has in his mind, because he is not prepared to accept what we are delivering. So if he has some assumptions about that topic, the students unfortunately may ignore or distort the new information that we are trying to deliver if we do not try to understand the understanding or knowledge of a student in that particular course. Therefore, as in my introduction, sir had informed you that I taught in university, also Central University I taught, and then I moved to IIT. So some significant differences I have observed. In IITs, what happens when we propose a new course, there is one option, prerequisites, if any. This prerequisite, concept of prerequisite is very important. To understand my course, if I think that students need to know these basics, the basics of that particular course, then we write there, or we write COT, consent of teacher. So a student will come to me if he wants to opt my course, elective courses. He will come to me, he will ask, sir, should I opt this course? I'll try to evaluate. I'll try to assess whether the student has some background in this course or not. If he does not have, I'll suggest him not to come. So this prerequisite helps us to deliver in better manner and helps us to suggest the course to the students. If they do not have any background in this particular course, in this particular area, they are suggested to go to the basic course, the fundamental course. They should learn the fundamentals and then they should come to the advanced course. So if such things are not there, just to understand, when we are going to start our course, in the beginning itself, we should make some effort to understand the preparation of our students. It is always better, because without understanding their level, if we go and start pouring what we know, it would be just wastage of energy and time. So some suggestions are there for this purpose. At the beginning of every course, we should try to gauge the students' prior knowledge of the subject. And how can we gauge it? There are some methods. There are several ways to identify what students already know. Davis, Angelo, and Cross, these researchers suggested some of the ways. One of the simplest is to introduce a topic and then ask a question. So the basic topic, when we begin with our course, some fundamental topic of that course we should put forth, and we should ask the students to say something on that. We can understand whether they have some background in that subject or not. Starting without knowing the students' standard is a mistake. So assessment helps in this way. A more comprehensive way to learn about students' prior knowledge is to give a brief diagnostic pre-test, ungraded and anonymous. That is also one of the best methods. Tests really can be helpful if they are anonymous and ungraded. If they are ungraded, they will serve the purpose for assessment, because we check them qualitatively, not quantitatively. And when we check qualitatively, we come to know about the standard of our students, whether they will be able to understand these concepts from this level, or I have to start from the basics. We can easily understand, and accordingly we can start the course. During the term, frequent diagnostic mini quizzes can help identify which students are keeping up and which need help. So quizzes or surprise tests, if we are taking them all the time, they need not to be graded only. Sometimes they can be for the purpose of assessment, where our intention is to understand to what extent our students have learned. If the tests are anonymous and ungraded, they really give us clear picture about the standard of the students, or to what extent our students have learned what we taught. Are students learning what we are teaching? Assessment, another very important aspect of assessment is to understand whether students are learning what we are teaching. So individual students do not make uniform progress, as we discussed previously. We have to see that all students are learning at the same pace. If we try to understand this fact, we will find that the pace can never be the same. So some students might be slow learners. For them, we have to devise some methods. So some strategies are suggested by Davis and Silberman. Ask questions during class. Give the students time to respond. Sometimes what happens, we ask questions, we do not give them enough time, because when we ask questions, we think after students need some time to recall the answer. They are not the teachers, they are not the experts like the teachers. So give them time to respond. Try to get a sense of whether students are keeping up by asking questions for which answers require students to apply a given concept or skill to a new context. Ask students for their questions. Another very important thing is we should ask questions for ask students for their questions, but there are some ways. If we ask them like this, do you have any questions? They would say no. So this yes or no answers are not good in this context. We should seek proper answer. So in place of asking, do you have any questions? We can ask our students, what questions do you have? So they will think that they might have some question and they can ask. So basically, through assessment, we can understand that what actually our students need. Ask students to write. Another very interesting and very useful methodology of assessing the students and also triggering their interest in the subject. Some students, we all must have observed, some students sit in the class, physically they are present, but mentally they are not. Mentally they are wandering somewhere in the city, or they are at home, or they are thinking something else. We can force them to listen to us by following this methodology. A minute paper. Just before the end of a class session, ask what is the most significant thing you learned today. So if this is a practice, frequently you ask this question, or you ask your students, like what question is uppermost in your mind at the end of today's class. You just write down that. The student will be attentive in the class to answer this question. What is the most significant thing you learned today? Because he knows that he has to say something, what he is going to write if this question is asked. So he has to be attentive in the class. And on the other hand, it provides us a clear picture about the learning of the students, whether all are learning or some of them might not write anything because they did not listen, or they did not, they could not understand what we discussed in the class. So from that we can understand if such is the situation for more than 50% of the students, if they are not able to write anything in answer to the question, what is the most significant thing you learned today, then we need to revise that. Otherwise, the purpose itself is not served. If more than 50% students could not understand, just 10-15% only could say something. Because majority should be taken into consideration. Some students, if they are not able to understand, we can extend additional help to them. But if majority fails to understand, then we seriously need to assess our methodology, our strategy, our course. Testing and grading. In addition to the informal assessments, more formal assessments of student progress provide important gauges of student learning. At most institutions, testing students and assigning them grades provide the basis for such evaluations. So it is the standard practice across the institutions. So assessment basically is very much, like informally, if we do it, it is more useful. Because when it comes to formal methods, testing and measurement works. Testing and grading. Grading is a part of measurement. Because with that grade, with grade sheet, the student goes to the other college, other school, other university, on the basis of what he will be admitted. So certainly grades are important. But to make the student a good learner, assessment is something that is indispensable. Continuous assessment from teacher's side. Grading practices in a course can both motivate students and define the goals of a course. Grades may influence students' decisions to select a field as a major or a career. So grades really impact the students' decisions. So when we award grades also, sometimes we can be considerate. If we know the student, if we have been assessing, I don't know about other universities, but in central universities also, the teachers were evaluating the answer scripts. Those who were teaching, they were CBCS system was there. So they were asked to evaluate. They were asked to grade the answer scripts. So if you know that the student is a very good student, but due to certain factors, he could not perform well, then you can talk to the student. You can ask him. Students who measure their learning by the grade they receive tend to invest time only in aspects of a course that clearly affect their grade. We must have observed this, and we find some students like this. They won't be paying much attention in the class, but in the 11th hour, they will work very hard and they try to score better marks than others. But this strategy for these students who behave in such a manner is not good, because at the time of interview, their mark sheets will not work. They will be tested on certain things. And if a student has learned things only for the grades, that doesn't work. Proper learning is required. So we need to motivate our students to be a continuous learner in place of preparing for the exams in the 11th hour. The why and how of tests. Ideally, tests measure students' achievement of the educational goals for the course, and the test items sample the content and skills that are most important for students to learn. Because in tests, the questions are based on the significance of the content in the course. Some goals and methods of testing adopted from Furman and Gresha are to measure knowledge, recall of common terms, facts, principles, and procedures. Ask students to define, describe, identify, list, outline, or select. To measure application. In tests, we do like this. Solving problems, applying concepts and principles to new situations. Ask students to demonstrate, modify, prepare, solve, or use. To measure analysis, recognition of unstated assumptions or logical fallacies, ability to distinguish between facts and inferences. Ask students to diagram, differentiate, infer, relate, compare, or select. Ways to encourage improvement. So we can encourage improvement in students by testing and grading. So if you want to reward improvement, one way is to give students bonus points. And we do that. This practice we have in our institute, but depends on the individual teacher. The teachers have immense authority in terms of their courses. They can decide the strategy, the pattern of examination. There are certain things which are really helpful. Very practical way of assessing the students. So for participation in the class, just 5 marks if you have kept. So some students feel motivated just for the sake of speaking or gaining some marks in this section, they try to answer some questions. So some bonus points should be there at the end of the term to acknowledge steady improvement throughout the semester. Other faculty members allow students to correct their exams and resubmit their answers for a specified amount of additional credit. This is another way. So these are 5 questions which are really, important, fundamental in a teaching learning process for teachers to take cognizance of. These 5 questions are objectives. Objectives means why this course or this particular unit. Before starting the course, we have to consider these questions. Why this course or this particular unit? For what purpose should I teach? What is the objective? What is the purpose? We should question. After having an answer to this question, we should proceed to the other question, content. What is it that I'm going to teach? We have to understand the content also. What is the purpose of that content? When we understand what is it, then we deliver it in better manner. And we can explain our students why they should learn these things. Sometimes, students do not know why they are studying a particular course. And they are really curious. Sometimes they ask themselves, what is the use of this course? Why am I studying this? If they do not have an answer to that question, because sometimes in our institute, some students ask this question, sir, can you tell me? Therefore, in each course, objective is written. What is the objective of this course? So why a student should opt this course? What is the outcome? Why a student should invest his time? There should be some outcome, right? Why a student should invest a lot of time in learning that which might not be useful for him. So before a student asks this question, we should understand. We should have an answer to this question. So when the student asks, we can answer. Methods. Methods we have to think, because the question related to method is, how best can I teach this course? What strategy should I devise or follow through which I can teach this course in the best possible manner? Then evaluation. How best I taught this course? After teaching the course, we should always evaluate. Assessment is very important. We discussed about it. We should evaluate how best I taught this course. If I fail to do justice with regard to some particular topic, we should think about that. How to improve, how to teach that topic in better manner. And it happens, sometimes we teach a course, some new course we teach, some particular topic, one could not do justice with. So it is important to reflect upon. Then feedback. Feedback tells us, sometimes just by reflection, we do not realize that we committed a mistake, but feedback makes us understand that what was missing, what is the thing that is very strong in our teaching, and what are the things that we need to improve on. So these 5 questions are very important for a teacher. Now let us look at this activity. Should I read it or we all can read? Okay, I'm reading. So Professor Ramna wanted all his students to meet his learning outcome. He announced to his first year students that if their SOP on the electricity circuits investigation was accepted, they would receive an A. And if it was not accepted, they would receive it back for revisions. After revisions, if it was accepted, then they would also receive an A. Now, as you might expect, some students asked what would happen if they still needed further revisions. Professor Ramna replied that they could redo it until it was accepted. At that time, they would receive an A because they had met the standards. He said, because I wasn't lowering the score for each retry, I was worried that there would be complaints that I wasn't being fair, but I had none. Another concern for Professor Ramna was time. He knew it would take more time to assess multiple submissions, but decided to do it anyway. He created the rubric and went over it with the students. The rubric focused on students demonstrating their knowledge of electrical flow in series and parallel circuits by means of drawing or writing. He waited for the completed projects and found that 22 of the 36 students achieved these standards. Not great, but at least there were only 14 to reassess. When the students' work was returned, he said, I was delighted to see students working and talking with others about ways to make it correct. Mind you, they were not copying. They were talking about what was weak or incorrect and discussing how it should be. Only 4 students made revisions a third time. Though it did take more time, there were fewer reviews because only the parts that needed improvement were examined. All students succeeded and were actively focused on learning. At his team meeting, he shared what he had done and asked, give me some feedback. What do all of you think about using this strategy? Now, question. What are the trade-offs of assessing in this manner for students? What are the trade-offs for teachers? Would you like to be a learner in Professor Ramana's classroom? Explain. What answer should we write? How do you assess Mr. Ramana's strategy of assessing the students? Do you find it logical? Do you find it methodical and useful? Or it was not good? Sir, madam, any answer? Sirs and madams. So we can see that the emphasis has shifted from assessment of learning, which creates an image of learning as defined by a grade, to assessment for learning, which creates a vision of learning with ongoing assessment used to modify teaching strategies that provide optimal learning opportunities for student success. So basically, the approach of a teacher certainly sometimes should be assessment of learning, but I believe assessment should be for learning. Because if students are not learning, they just cram things, they appear in the exam, they just write the answers and forget everything. That is not the motto or purpose of the assessment or examination. The purpose of the examination is to make them learn. So assessment for learning is a better method. Professor Ramana's class motivated the students to submit the correct answer. Even in third attempt, the students tried their best and they submitted the correct answer and secured grade A. So let us consider our own experiences. Were our assignments focused on assessment of learning or assessment for learning? We hope the assignments were or will be more in line with assessment for learning. Because the test or this grading pattern, examination, that is, at formal level, certainly we have a set pattern. But when it comes to assignments, there to some extent we can be lenient and we can aim this methodology of assessment for learning. Assessing our courses as instructor. It is common practice to wait until the end, and it happens. When it comes to feedback, we wait until the end of the semester. In the end, students give feedback and we get it. But when we get the feedback from the students, do we really have any scope for the improvement in the next semester? So that in the next semester, to what extent it works, we all know. But if feedback comes throughout the semester, we have enough time to improve on certain aspects. So an alternative approach is to request informal constructive criticism throughout the term. When classroom presentations, organization, pacing and workload can be adjusted. If you are very fast in delivering your content, if you seek a feedback from the student, if he says that pace is very fast and we are not able to go with it, you can adjust it. But if at the end you realize that your pace was very fast, already one semester is gone, and whatever the outcome, like you were supposed to avoid some problems which are being stated here, that due to this problem the students could not understand certain topics, certain things. Now you cannot go back. You have just corrected the answer scripts, graded them, the semester is gone. So no scope for improvement, at least for those students who have already studied. But if continuous assessment or continuous feedback, constructive criticism, constructive feedback we get throughout the semester, we have enough time to improve, and that works really well. Instructors can gather information about the effectiveness of their teaching strategies, the usefulness of instructional materials and other features of the course that can be changed during the semester if we get the feedback throughout the semester or in the middle of the semester, or 2-3 times informally if we seek the feedback. Soliciting students' opinions about our course. So what happens usually, teachers find it odd to ask students how the course is going on, how they are teaching. But it should not be awkward. It should not be awkward, because this is only the way we can improve our delivery, our performance. So informally, a teacher can seek the opinion of the students on their performance. How well are we teaching? Videotaping. Another method to know, to assess our performance is videotaping. Without informing the students, we can record our class and we can see at what point of time students lost interest. What was their topic and why were they losing interest? What I was doing when I was delivering the lecture, in what manner I was delivering the lecture that did not interest the students, that did not trigger their interest in the topic. So analyzing the video, the analysis of the video make me realize, make me aware of the mistakes that I commit in my class. The other way is also, so videotaping helps us in analyzing these things also. What are the specific things I did well? What are the specific things I could have done better? What kept the students engaged? When did students get lost or lose interest? If I could do this session over again, what 3 things would I change? All these questions we can ask at the time of watching the video and after watching the video. How would I go about making those changes? How well are we teaching peer evaluation? Another very interesting method, but sometimes we all may not be comfortable with this method. Peer evaluation is like, you can ask your friend to sit in your class and you do the same thing for him. Your colleague, your friend, who can give you constructive criticism, who can tell you where you need to improve. In some universities, this practice is very much there. But you yourself can ask your friend. I'm not saying that all the things should be implemented at the level of administration. Individually, a teacher, if he is interested, in improving his performance, he can ask his friend to sit in his class. He can sit in his friend's class. They can talk about the strengths and weaknesses of their teachings. So assessment in online mode. So now looking at this situation, if you want, I can talk about this, but basically the intention was to talk about assessment, evaluation and testing that we have completed, that is done. I think we can leave this because this is not the part of this course, because the topic is just assessment, evaluation and testing. I had just prepared extra material. Yeah, ma'am. Chitra ma'am.
Sir, is it over, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you very much, ma'am.
Very insightful talk, sir. Any questions, please ask, sir. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can ask. So shall we wind up? Okay,
Yes,
sir?
ma'am. Sure, sure.
So before winding up, I request Arvind sir to say a vote of thanks to this session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Good evening. On behalf of Humanities and Social Sciences, JNTU CEA, co-participants of this faculty development program, I profoundly thank Professor Prabha Shankar Dwivedi sir for your erudite session on assessment, evaluation, and testing. At the inception, Professor has assertively mentioned that the primary objective of teaching is learning, and our assessments decide the future of students. Professor has also stated that inappropriate assessments, evaluation, and testing may influence students' decision. Continuous evaluation is at most helpful in attributing effectiveness to the process of assessment and testing. Sir, you have even mentioned that the basic definitions of testing, assessment, evaluation, and measurement. Role of assessments, fundamental objective is to develop confidence and the ability to learn. Brian's case study stands as an absolute example of that. Sir, it was even mentioned that an effective teacher considers at most two factors, that is assessment and feedback. And of course, feedback acts as a gap filler. Anticipation of complexity in certain topics is also a keen characteristic of effective teacher. Initial screening of students' knowledge before starting any new course is at most essential to understand the extent of students' familiarity about the subject can be known with this kind of initial screening test. Ungraded mini quizzes also help the extent of understanding of the student while the course is on. Sir, you have even mentioned questioning, encouraging students to question, and encouraging them to write a short up like a minute paper will enable the teacher to learn the extent of a student's learning. When it comes about the five fundamental questions that need to be posed, the teacher to himself is whether he has met the objective, content, method, evaluation, feedback need to be asked by self. Professor Ramana sir's activity stands as an example for this continuous process that need to be on. Peer evaluation, self-evaluation are certain tools that will definitely help our ability to teach. Thank you very much for this wonderful session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arvind sir. Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, Prabha Shankar sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dear participants, take a break of 10 minutes. Please join us by 4 o'clock because if at all you take much time, okay, the session will be extended. So please join by 4, exactly 4. We'll start the session by 4 o'clock and we'll wind up by 5:30 exactly. And I want to make an announcement. Okay, just if you want to give final feedback, so please send the names of those people to me. That is to my FDP group. Place that in the FDP SIP group. Okay, if you are interested to give a final feedback, you can please. Write your names and your college names and send them to my, that is to the FDP WhatsApp. Thank you. Sir, good evening, sir. Lokanand Reddy, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Sir, what 10 minutes, sir? 4 o'clock
madam.
we'll start, sir.
No problem. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, madam.
బావా
మీకు వీడియో కూడా ఆన్ చేస్తాను నేను మాట్లాడుకోండి
పక్కకు పోయినట్టు రాదు.
లేదు ఉన్నారు
బావా
సార్ లోకానంద్ రెడ్డి సార్
రాజేష్.
హాయ్ బావా. ఏంటి బావా, ఏంటి విశేషాలు?
చెప్పాలి, అందరు విశేషాలు అందరూ వింటారు మాట్లాడితే.
అవును, లేరు, అందరు మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారే. అరే
వాళ్ళు మ్యూట్ లో ఉంటారు, వినపడుతుంది అందరికి.
మరి ఫోన్ లో మాట్లాడుకోండి సార్
ఇంకా బావా,
జస్ట్
కనపడకపోతే ఏముందిలే సార్, మనసులో ఉన్నారుగా.
జస్ట్ హాయ్ బాయ్ చెప్పుకోవచ్చు కానీ విశేషాలు మాట్లాడకూడదు.
లేదు బ్రేక్ ఇచ్చాం బావా, బ్రేక్ ఇస్తే అందరూ వెళ్ళిపోయారు అనుకున్నారు. మన సార్ ఎవరు వచ్చేసినట్టు. ఎవరు ఐజక్ అన్నా? ఐజక్ అన్నా?
ఏమన్నా సమస్య ఉంటే చెప్పబ్బా.
అన్న ఏం సమస్యలు ఉంటాయి చెప్పరా?
నీకున్న సమస్యలు కాదు, నాతో నీకేమన్నా ఉంటే.
ఏమున్నాయి మనకి ఏముంటాయి చెప్పరా సమస్యలు?
మీ బావగారికి మీకు మధ్యన అయితే ర్యాపోర్ట్ వేరే కదా.
అలాంటిది
యా నైస్ బీయింగ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ everything that has been going on.
With all your support.
Hey, it's like all the 5 fingers.
Yeah.
ఇప్పుడే ముట్ట లోపలికి పోయేది.
INDUCT talent in during break.
హజరత్ అయిపోయింది. హజరత్ ఎగ్జామ్ అయిపోయిందండి ఇది నిన్న
నెల్లూరు వచ్చాము, INDUCT సార్ని కలిసాము.
మొన్న వచ్చారబ్బా, ఈ కేమ్ ఎగ్జామ్ 5:30కి కాల్డ్ మీ, నన్ను కలిశాడు. ఐ జస్ట్ గేవ్ హిమ్ లైట్ డైట్ అండ్ సెడ్ గో బి అవుట్ ఆఫ్ సైట్ ఫర్ ద నైట్ అని వెళ్ళిపోయినాడు రాత్రి బస్.
అంతే కదా.
నైస్.
ఇంకా 10 minutes ఉందిలే బావా, వస్తారులే. 4కి వస్తారులే.
వీడియో వచ్చింది సార్.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, good evening.
Yeah, Naik, how are you?
Fine, sir. I am fine.
Nice getting connected like this. So we are missing visiting Anantapur.
Madam, shall I start?
Okay, so shall we start, sir?
Yeah, no problem, madam. I am ready.
Sir, okay, sir. Good evening, sir. And today's session is Sir Lokananda Reddy sir's session is on leadership skills. And I request Dr. Rama Naik sir to propose to introduce sir.
Good evening, participant. So I am very glad to introduce Professor Airala Lokananda Reddy Garu. And Dr. Lokananda Reddy is a graduate in econometrics, postgraduate in business administration, PhD in management science, finance, and he has published in such a journal as Journal of Asia Pacific Economic and Indian Journal of Finance, Indian Economic Journal, ICFI Journal of Applied Finance, Journal of Accounting and Finance, to name a few, besides presenting several papers in national and international conferences. As a successful trainer, Dr. Airala had designed and delivered several seminars, research projects, and training programs in the area of finance, pedagogical tools in management teaching, research methodology, case teaching, case writing, SPSS, and Excel applications. Dr. Airala is a faculty development program alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, where he was trained on research methods and case pedagogy on management. As a passionate teacher of finance, his interests include corporate finance, investment analysis, strategic financial management, and business analytics. Dr. Airala is currently serving as the Associate Professor at School of Management Studies, University of Hyderabad. Sir, it is an honor to have you as a resource person for the one-week faculty development program and student interaction program. So now I welcome you, sir. Thank you. Over to Lokananda Reddy, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Rama Naik Garu, for that introduction. And the outset, I also thank Professor Chitra Madam for this opportunity. So I'll start off with my presentation today on leadership skills. The only difficulty is that we are starting it late, but I'll have to close it on time. So let us see.
Sir, please for 1 minute switch on your video, sir. I'll take that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we'll be beginning our discussion. This is where we go. Today, the topic that I am planning to discuss is the role of academic leadership in higher education, or to be very specific, you can take that as what we call technical education. Instead of saying the role of academic leadership, I want to title it slightly differently as the changing role of academic leadership in higher education. So, especially there are two events that made me do this change, especially in the Indian context. The two events are, as we go along, I would be introducing the two important events, two important things that have happened very recently, so making us get into this subject matter little deeply.
Thank you, sir. You can switch off.
Yeah. So, just to begin our session and plan my pace of how I should take on you. Here I put up a small, and also to ensure that you are back and awake. So I have a small task for you. So you see, I'm pasting it in the chat box. Just click on that. It will take you to a page where you'll have to fill few details. Okay. Just click on this link. It will take you to a page like this. Just put up your email ID, name, the town or city that you come from, and basically I want to look at this. What's your specialization? So those who are from engineering can put themselves in sciences. Then we have economics, commerce, and management, and of course the social sciences include the sociology, political science, etc. Here you can also include the humanities, social sciences and humanities. So just take a small 1 minute time out, click on that. So as you fill those things, I would like to look at this graph especially. So I wanted you to include humanities also in social sciences, but anyway, the others is leading with 25%. Now it's 20%. So looking at your experience, so all kinds of experiences. Okay. So Anantapur, Vizag, Kadapa, of course, this doesn't matter as we speak, but then I'll get an understanding of the distribution of the audience. Fine. So far I got 7 responses. That's what you see here. 8 now. 10. So I'm happy now that we're all getting accustomed to this new normal. So filling up a Google form like this would have been completely different experience about 8 months ago. So with the advent of Corona today, we are more digitally equipped, especially with these kinds of devices. I'll also be introducing 1 or 2 of them other than Google Form as we go along in our presentation. So now I get a fair idea that most of you belong to the social sciences. Of course, some of you are from economics, commerce, and then interestingly, no engineering faculty there for falling in. Our engineering faculty would have left this meeting thinking that leadership and these topics are not their topics. Okay, so overall I got only 10 responses. That's another thing that in meeting it is shown there are 27 people. So somebody responded absolutely yes, sir. That means it's a response to this question that engineering people would have left thinking that leadership is not their topic. Anyway, so those who left, it is their loss. Those who stay back, it is your gain. So I'll take you through a bit structured presentation today and see how it unfolds as we go along. So I plan to cover the whole thing in an hour's time because I'll have to catch up for another meeting. So though we lost 15-20 minutes due to the other speakers stretching into our time, right? Yeah. Okay. So Zoom meetings, Google Meet has become the new normal. Very good. Right. Now, let me take you through this presentation. Just concentrate a little bit on this slide where, the market that we are into, which is called the higher education market, when we're trying to give this product to our students, that is the higher education is what we are giving them. Let's say you're giving them a degree, you are giving them skills, you are giving them training, you are making them transform their personality. So a lot of things are given. Now, this I want you to actually understand on a matrix called the tangibility versus standardization. This is important because as we go along, we would realize the importance of such understanding. Here I gave you some example. For example, if you are going for a wedding lunch, so the wedding lunch is mostly standardized. That means the same thing gets served to all the people. That's what is called standardization. If the product is same, it is called standardization, right? Whereas the tangibility means it's very much you can touch, feel, see what is being served. If you say a laddu is being served in the lunch or a badusha is being served in the lunch, so you can actually make out whether it is laddu, badusha, etc. And then there is some biryani in the lunch that is very much visible. That's called tangibility. As compared to this, a bus travel is also similar. I mean, unless you have more classes in a bus travel, if you get into a bus, it is the same driver, it is the same conductor, it is the same treatment each one of us will get. And it is the same bus, and it is the same seat, and it is the same speed each one of us will experience. So again, it is more standardized, and of course, there is some service angle to it. So tangibility is slightly less, but the standardization is the same. Versus this, if you go to the lunch at a hotel where you go and order and you take the a la carte. So as far as the standardization is concerned, it is very less standardized because we can occasionally tell the chef to make it little spicy or make it little less spicy. So we can sometimes give him the menu, and then from the tangibility point of view also it is different depending on who is being served and how you are getting serviced, because there are going to be several different service boys. Unless the service operations are highly standardized, it's going to be less tangible. Then banking service, then you see this is slightly little more standardized but little more intangible. So we say it is not very standardized. The reason being, depending on who is the customer who is walking into the bank, the service will be different. A high net worth customer will receive a different service compared to a normal customer who is going for the bank. So if you were to put higher education on this map, so where do you keep that? On which quarter you keep this? So for this, I have another small exercise. The basic idea is that I want you to experience this a particular tool called Mentimeter. So wherein the real time we can see what are your responses. So what you have to do, you can also answer this through your mobile phone, or you can as well use your laptop computers. So just wait for a second for the presentation to load. So now what you do, you go to this website called menti.com. If you go to this website called menti.com, it will ask you for a code. Just give this code 675359. Then you can choose your response. So if you think it is more standard, you can choose a response here. If it is less standard, you can choose a response here. If you think it's highly tangible, you can choose a response. Highly intangible also, you can choose a response. Just try this. go to this website called menti.com and use this code 675359. It's like this. So go to menti.com, menti.com. Now here it is asking for a code. You just give this code 675359. So here 675359 and submit. Now the higher education that is delivered to a student, if you think it is more standardized, you can drag this like this, or if it is less standardized, you can drag it like this. So that's I'll keep it here. It's not standardized. And then it is, if you see it's more tangible, drag it this side. If it is less tangible, you drag it this side. So this is where I'm recording. Then simply submit. So this time non-standard, this time this side more standard, this time highly intangible. So this time here it is highly tangible. Let me see if some people have answered it. Yeah, I got one answer. One person has answered it. He says it is in a more standardized and highly tangible. The another person who is also having the similar opinion. Three people. Here you see how many people are answering. Here I will know that the three people are also there. It corresponds to the three dots that you see on that. Yeah, one person has got a typical answer. He says maybe by mistake he has submitted, or he has purposefully he made it 00. All of you are able to see the screen, please? And you are able to see your responses. Yeah, going forward. See, there are so many people in the meeting. I don't understand why people are not responding. There are 32 people in the meeting as per the Google statistics. But so far, only 7 people have voted. So most of you believe that it is standardized. The education is standardized. Okay. Bryce. If I get few more responses, then based on that I can build this discussion, please. It's very, very simple. Open your internet, go to www.menti.com, this website, and give this code 675359. Once you give that code, you land up here. Then only thing is, if you think the higher education is more standardized, you keep dragging it like this. 5 is the maximum and 1 is the minimum if you think it is standardized. If it is less standardized, again 1 is the minimum. If you think it is less and less standardized, highly non-standardized, you can give 5 marks. Similarly, the tangibility also you can move like this. 0 means it's neither tangible nor intangible. If you think it is highly tangible, this side, highly intangible, this side. And once you have done this, you click on submit. So we would get the result here. So I would conclude, out of 32, 7 has submitted, 25 are sleeping. Am I true in my conclusion, please? 25 are attending this meeting without any interest. 25 just want the certificate. Then how do we expect the Indian higher education to change? Right? It's good, but not bad. That you choose to be like that, very uninteractive. This is the first demonstration of how and what kind of experience today teachers have when you don't have a face-to-face class. So had I had a face-to-face class, I would have actually made all the 32 people answer this. So otherwise, I would not have had 32 people in the class. So now we are in a big myth. So I am thinking 32 people are actively listening, sitting on the other side of the computer, but God only knows what they are doing. Now, this is an experience for all of us today in this online teaching platform, that you have a 60 student strength and then you keep teaching, then you are teaching to your computer. We really do not know how many people are actively listening to your lecture. But that has become a new normal, so one can't help it. And this has become, and this is going to become, a very big challenge. The kind of behavior the participants are exhibiting in this particular program is going to be a profound problem that will be studied, and which has got ramifications of most of us losing our jobs in the days to come. I would just be highlighting that. Yeah, that's what. I'll just be highlighting that the kind of behavior that we're all into is going to make us lose jobs. And how it is going to happen, I'm going to tell you. Right? Okay. Now, let us check our tally. Finally, it finally stood at 7. Doesn't matter. From 12 to 7, it is okay. Then let me get back to my presentation. Okay. And then if I were to tell you that it is going to actually come in this region, it is highly intangible and highly non-standardized. At least that is how it is going to become in the days to come. Let me explain this, why the higher education is highly unstandardized. See, the only thing that is standardized in the higher education is the syllabus. If you call it financial management, or if you call it some strength of materials in your engineering, or if you call it CAD/CAM in civil engineering, or if you call it something like engineering drawing, or if you call it something like a course in philosophy, the syllabus might remain the same. The syllabus might be standardized throughout the universities throughout the country. But how it is getting delivered in each of the classes by each of the different lecturers is completely different. That is where we cannot say the higher education, the product that we are giving to our students, is more standardized. It is less and less standardized. That is the first thing. And the second thing is, it is intangible. Intangible in the sense that what is that we are giving to the student? Of course, today we have at least available. What I am teaching today is getting recorded by your JNTUA Anantapur. So otherwise, what I'm delivering in the class is goes off the record and doesn't know whether I'm teaching good, bad, etc. Though you have some feedback mechanisms by the students, it is not a foolproof mechanism. That way, what is getting delivered to the student is also not tangible. And these two things are going to become, rather the response that you gave is what is going to become, but it is not what it is today. So what it is today is, it is highly heterogeneous and it is highly intangible. From this space, it is going to move into this space. From this quarter, it's going to move into this space. So what makes this move into that space is the kind of audience that we have today. When you look at our students now, if you look at the relationship between the teacher and the taught, that means the teacher on one side and the students on the other side, If it is a school education, right, it is told the relationship between the teacher and taught is like the cat and its family. Have you heard of cat and its family? So what is the description of cat and its family? It is told the cat will take utmost care of its kitten. It will change 7 places to protect its kitten from the hunt. And it is so caring and it takes care of its family so very well. So if I want to ask you this question, what is the relationship between the teacher and taught in college education? So from school education, it is the teacher is like cat, the students are like its kitten. But in college education, what it will be?
The cat should turn into a lion.
Lion, okay, good sir. Then, but normally as we see, what it is like?
Free to explore after some time.
Pardon?
Free to explore after some time. That is, explore the world individually and just give them guidance.
Okay. So I was just trying to see if somebody has typed something. Okay. Yeah. Now give the same similar analogy. See, it is like cat and its family. You pick up an animal and tell me what is the college life, the relationship between teacher and the student. Is it dog and its family, or is it some other donkey and its family, or it is some other thing? I mean, just give a wild guess. Yeah, Aruna says mother taking care of its baby. Yeah, this is like this is what is in primary education, Aruna. School education, yes, it is mother taking care of its baby. But in higher education, what happens? I'll show the interesting slide to you actually.
Like monkey, sir?
Yeah. Vishwanath, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it is told in college education, it is monkey and its family. This is called in Sanskrit, popularly known as, what is this called Sanskrit? Somebody having a little bit of knowledge in Sanskrit would tell me. Markata Marjala Nyayam. So the Sanskrit differentiates how a monkey takes care of its family and how a cat takes care of it. You look at these two pictures very closely, what do you observe? What do you observe in this context?
Sir, in case of here the monkey, the baby monkey catch hold of the mother, sir.
Yeah, that's a nice observation. The cat is holding its baby in the cat and its family picture, but in the monkey family picture, it is the baby monkey that is holding the monkey. The mother monkey keeps jumping here and there without recourse to what is happening to the baby. It is the duty of the baby to hold on to the mother monkey more carefully. This is called Markata Marjalanayam. This applies to the teacher-taught relationship in school and college. So if you put it in operational terms, when you look at the school education, these are the differences. In school education, we have the responsibility of teaching. That means it is teacher-centric. The teacher feels more responsible, and the teacher is reviewed, evaluated, and he is actually, supposed to be idealistic and supposed to be reformist and supposed to be, taking a lot of responsibility of teaching. But when it comes to college education, it is not responsibility of the teaching, but it is the ownership of learning. Here, the student has to take the ownership. Now, you might tell me, sir, where students are taking ownership? That's exactly the problem in the system. This is all going to change. Now, how this is going to change, I'll just let you know.
today, the way we see students, tomorrow they are going to be different. So they are going to take complete ownership of their learning, right? As against what we see in today's market. And this has got a lot of ramifications, a lot of ramifications for the way we teach, the way we conduct ourselves today. So with this, I'll take you to the most appealing example is what I have already demonstrated to you in this class. As I am teaching in this class, now tell me, is it the responsibility of the teacher or the ownership of the student? Now who has to be in the meeting? Who has to listen to me? Who has to take benefit of this lecture? Can I enforce, as a teacher, can I enforce everybody should be there? It is all the more not possible in virtual environment. I don't have control over who is actually there in the meeting. So already in the virtual environment, we trying to experience the concept of ownership of learning. That means the teacher is going to teach, and then now it is getting in a face-to-face class, we have a lot of heterogeneity. I can see the student. I can see the face of the student. I can read his face. And if somebody is found to be not understanding, I'll pace my lecture. I'll slow down. I'll go to the fellow and I'll ask him, guy, are you understanding? And today I can't see your faces. In the first place, I don't know how many people are there in the meeting. So what control I have on this class? Absolutely zero. Even if a teacher wants to exercise the control, he cannot exercise the control. So then who has to be more responsible in today's virtual platform? It is the participant. It is the student. So unless he is grown up to a level, unless he has grown up to understand that it is he who should take care of his learning, things are going to be more and more difficult in the days to come. And what this has to do with us, we have other ramifications that I'll be coming forward. So the first thing is, unless our market grows, unless our student community realizes in the changed environment, it is them who should take the lead. It is teacher is not going to be after them, right? Things are going to be more and more difficult in the higher education. Now I want to actually take you through these two recent trends in our one is the virtual learning, the issues and challenges. That is something that we'll be discussing. Then you have this the new education policy, which is talking more about CBCS, MEME, and ABC. Before I proceed further, I just want to know from you, how many of you know CBCS? I expect most of you should be knowing, because it's not just introduced in NEP, it has been there for some time. Right? How many of you know CBCS? Can you type? Some of you respond, please.
I think it is choice-based credit system.
Credit system. Yes, sir. Yes, he is typing it on the right. No, slowly it is making it non-standardized. Right. Yeah. So CBCS means tax-based. What is MEME? What is MEME? I'll be explaining this, but just to keep you engaged, I'm asking you this question. How many of you heard of MEME, which is now in the new education policy, which is going to be implemented very, very soon? That's the pace at which the government is going. If we are all ignorant of these facts, like I told you, most of us will be losing our jobs. I may sound cynical and negative, but that's what is going to happen in the days to come. MEME is right. ABC? No, national education policy or new education policy, that is okay. So new education policy is actually national education policy. MEME means multiple entry and multiple exit. I'll explain that what it is. ABC stands for Academic Bank of Credits. These are the two things that are proposed in the new education policy, which is passed in the parliament, right? And which is, the government is very, very eager to implement this from the very next year. That's 2021 they are planning. But even if it is delayed by one more year, definitely by 2022, you will have the academic bank of credits as well as ME. What does this actually mean? Little bit of suspense, I'll come back to that. But before that, let me answer this question. Yeah, no, I'll come back to that. We'll be discussing that. ME means multiple entry and multiple exit. ABC means academic bank of credits. I'll be explaining it in a few minutes from now. Now, before that, I want to draw your attention to this famous article. Sorry, before that, this one. Sorry. So by Vijay Govindarajan and Anup Srivastava. So Vijay Govindarajan is actually a Harvard Business School, professor. I'm just pasting the link here. Just give it a view. You can open your computer and then see. Otherwise, I'll open it here. Just take about not more than 5 minutes. Just go through the key terms in this article. This is very, very interesting article by Harvard Business School. So those who are in commerce and management would understand the importance of Harvard Business School. It's the leading #1 business school, #1 MBA college in the entire world. So what they are discussing here, right? See, there are many indicators that this crisis is going to transform many aspects of life. Please underline this word. It is not just education. The way we live is going to be completely different in the days that will come. Then, of course, education is one of them. See here, the remote teaching proves to be a success. Now I want to ask your opinion. Is this a good sign for us or it's a bad sign for us? The remote teaching becoming a success, is it a good sign for us as teachers or is it a bad sign?
Bad sign.
It's a bad sign. That means we are all doing a good job or bad job now. It's the necessary evil. But then evil have its own cost. See, if we say the remote teaching is effective, or if we say the people will get used to remote teaching. See, right now I'm pointing out there are many people missing in this meeting. Likewise, many students are not caring for the online classes. If a day comes that the students know how to attend our classes and the remote teaching becomes the new normal, then what is going to happen? Tell me. One prediction will tell me if the remote teaching is going to be the new normal, if remote teaching is going to be successful, what it will do, all of us tell me. A very important point I'm discussing, please. Please think over it. I want you to apply your mind on this. This is a very pertinent problem that all of us should actually think about. If remote teaching is going to be successful, if it is going to replace the face-to-face teaching, what will happen to us? Right, straightforward, Bhaiya. Then how many teachers you require in Andhra Pradesh for teaching English for degree first year? If remote teaching is successful? Huh? No, if remote teaching is successful, how many teachers we need to teach, let us say, English for the first year degree students in Andhra Pradesh? Number?
Very few numbers.
Just one.
Only one.
Only one teacher. If you think, sir, every university is different, let us say as many universities. If there are 20 universities, every university will need only one teacher. As against so many teachers that are employed today. This is going to be a very, very big challenge. And remember, technology is such a bad thing, people will get used to it within no time. The students about whom we are complaining today that they are not there in the meeting, they are not there in the classes, etc., are slowly getting accustomed to this. I have a son and daughter. My son is in 10th class. My daughter is in 5th standard. Already my son's syllabus is over. It has been taught. I am not able to digest how, without going to the school even for a single day, he has completed all the syllabus of 10th class and he is ready for taking the examination, please. And of course, we have certain marginalized sections. We have still some people who have no access to internet. We have no access to what we call the tablets and the personal computers and the desktops and laptops. And it doesn't take much time to solve this problem. The speed at which today technology is progressing. If the speed at which the technology is progressing, you may not be surprised tomorrow. A laptop is made available for 10,000 rupees. You may not be surprised. It becomes more and more affordable. And if everybody have a laptop, then why would they should come to the face-to-face teaching? You look at this. That's what they're discussing here in this article. So what Vijay Govindarajan is discussing is exactly the same thing. Where do we have that? I just got... Do we have two windows? It's the same window. Okay, anyway. I'll just take you through a few more things, then we'll get into, because this is a very pressing, this is going to change the way we are going to live in the future. Then we'll connect that back to our, example of so this is as we speak, this is the problems that are teething problems. One is the internet speed, etc. Once this is resolved, like you see, the government has already announced, the auction of the 5G spectrum. If you have seen the news, yesterday it has come. Yesterday, the cabinet has approved the 5G spectrum. Once the 5G comes, then gone. Now, this is one that when you have time, just go through this article in detail, right? So now the point that we are coming out with the hybrid model, wherein there will be face-to-face classroom little bit, right? But not for 4 years. That means your engineering degree is not going to be a full-time 4-year degree. For that matter, the normal graduation will not be there for full 3 years. So who are going to come into this? A non-university instructor and Coursera. And see the example given. Teaching of Pythagoras theorem is pretty much same all over the world. So will it be different in different countries? Will it be different in different states? Will it be different in different classes? The Pythagoras theorem remains the same. If you make a beautiful, graphic-oriented version of teaching Pythagoras theorem, like you see, the most of the online teaching platforms are now coming out with. So why do I have to refer to so many textbooks? One single video on Pythagoras theorem will serve the whole world. Do you agree to what I am saying? If it is properly done, one professor explaining Pythagoras theorem is sufficient for the whole world. That 5-minute video is available, is put on YouTube. Then why do you need multiple videos of that? It is only a matter of time whether people get accustomed to this. If the student have a taste of managing their education, by looking into the video and managing their homework, right, online, then all our jobs are gone. Please remember this point. And I'm not sure whether we are going to be saved from this. So there are several other points that are discussed in this article. So how your mobile, cloud, artificial intelligence, the digital technologies, right, when can be deployed at a scale, right? At a scale means at an increasing scale. A very interesting step. There is a vast, the MOOCs, massive open online courses. These are going to replace, right, the customized single courses. So this is one aspect of it. The one aspect of it is that the education will soon become more standardized or less standardized. Please answer this question. The higher education also will become more standardized or less standardized? Yeah. Yeah. By all this, the education is getting more standardized or less standardized?
Definitely standardized.
It's going to become more and more standardized, right? So when you have more standardization, more jobs or less jobs? Less jobs. Less jobs. No, it's going to be more standardized, Aruna. The issue is that there will be one Pythagoras theorem explanation for the entire world. We don't require more. Maybe it will go through an evolution, and maybe that video will be redone maybe 100 times, but 101st time it will become perfect. It covers a whole aspect and it is available to them. This is one aspect. But then where is going to be the freedom for the students? That is the second aspect of today's discussion. The second aspect that I'm talking about is the students, for the freedom for the students, right, to choose disciplines, colleges and universities. Please mark this. This is a very, very big statement. Choose disciplines, not single discipline. It's not going to be engineering or medicine or commerce or management. They can have multiple disciplines. And they need not do it from a single college. They can do it from multiple colleges. And they need not restrict it to a single university. They can actually simultaneously study from different universities. And this is where your migration certificate is gone forever. So today we are living in a world from one university to another university. If you have to move, right, from graduation to post-graduation, we are required to submit a migration certificate. So what is the relevance of migration certificate? When we are going to study, when our students are going to study simultaneously in 5 universities, simultaneously in 6 universities. And how this is going to happen? That's what is very important. So what government is thinking is a student can have a multiple entry and multiple exit options in a program. That means what? You can have the first semester done in an engineering program or in a management program, or first year degree done in a degree program. Then you take a leave for 2 years, 3 years if you want to. Then you can come back and join the second year program. And remember, you may not come back and join in the second year program in the same university. You can join it in another university. And how this is going to happen? This is going to happen by what is called as the academic bank of credits that the government is creating next year. That means if you study one particular subject in degree first year from JNTUA Anantapur, let us say you will be given 3 credits. So just like you have a bank account where you can deposit your money, each student will be given an account in this academic bank of credits. So in his name, the name of that subject and the number of credits he has earned will be mentioned. So like we say, I have 10 lakh rupees in my bank. The students will come and say, I have 10 credits in my bank, in my academic bank. And these credits are earned by the students taking the exam. So I can take one course in English from JNTUA Anantapur Humanities department, and I can take the exam. 3 credits are there in my bank. Like that, the students can ABC, it's not APC, ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. So like this, I can collect different credits from different colleges and universities by online application. And there are going to be, if you want an engineering degree, you need these many credits in these areas. So I can combine now. So from my academic bank of credit, if I have so many credits that are required for the award of an engineering degree, I'll get an engineering degree. And if my credits are just sufficient to get a diploma, I'll get diploma. If my credits are, multi-faculty, that I get a BA in history as well as an engineering degree. Just imagine how it will change the way that we are living today. Then a question will come. That movie, popular movie, Anta meer Telugu kabatti, I can ask you this question, that Nani movie okati undi. What next? Now that what next question will not arise, because this fellow is simultaneously studying 2 papers in history, 3 papers in chemistry, 4 papers in engineering. So after 4 years, whether this fellow will become an engineer, or he will just get a BSc in chemistry or BA in history, is simply dependent on how many credits he is going to earn. So after intermediate, I start studying. Currently, I don't label it what I am studying. Maybe after 3 years, I might end up as BA history or BSc chemistry, or maybe after 4 years, I may end up as BTech mechanical. And what I am telling you is not imagination, please. This is what the government is thinking. You underline this. The ABC will digitally store academic credits sent from recognized higher education institutions. And students exercise credit redemption in order to be awarded a certificate or a diploma or a degree. So you submit your credits, you submit 10 credits, you get a certificate course. You submit 25 credits, you get a diploma course. Let us say you get 100 credits, you get an MBA course. So what you finally become is simply dependent on how many credits you have earned during this period in your academic bank of credits. So let me just stop here. I don't want to teach you so many things. I'll also engage you in another 10-15 minutes, but let me take and give you a 5 minutes reflection time. Just please tell me, have you understood what I taught you now? And have you understood the implications of that? These are 2 things. What I taught you is what kind of standardization, what kind of tangibility is there in the higher education today, and how it is going to change. And this has been linked with 2 things. One is the changes because of the COVID, we going and getting used to online platform. 2 is the government thinking in NEP. And when the NEP has come, it was basically supposed to be face-to-face. Now, that time the COVID and online platform was not there. In fact, as a matter of fact, the UGC and the AICTE has come out after these online courses like Coursera, Upgrade, edX has become more popular, that 20% of your degree can be earned through the online courses. And with NEP now in place, and with more virtual platforms available, now it is going to be made 100%. That means you need not go to college at all. No face-to-face learning unless where it is required, like medicine. But in medicine also, what could happen, certain, the courses like anatomy, physiology, which do not require practicals, might still be taken online. And those courses which require practicals like surgery, etc., will be face-to-face. And these are going to completely change the way we live, the way the education is going to be transformed. The more danger that is hanging on all our heads is how are we going to survive in this market? Unless we also go online, unless we also create online courses, unless we also have a YouTube channel, unless we also start preparing, and teaching to computers, not just to the students and faces. And today, what is making a video that has to be presented in YouTube? You will have to teach to the computer. Right? So please just take 2-3 minutes time, and just if you have any questions, you can speak or type it in the chat box as to whether you have understood what I am contemplating and the implications of that contemplation, the consequences of what I am speaking. Just give it 2-3 minutes of reflection. Yeah. Yeah, Hajarat, I agree with you. I'm not ruling out, but the world is fast changing. People are, it's like how many people subscribe to this view? How many people would want the overall development? How many people would actually be interested in spending that kind of money? Because the online is the another thing, Ajarat, that we should see here is online is going to be much cheaper compared to your face-to-face education. Because the face-to-face education requires a lot of investment in buildings, lot of investment in multiple manpower. And that's going to be a big business case. Yeah. What is used to be restricted to a particular aspect is going to be, we all discuss, Santosh, we all discuss human touch is very important. But then let me react to each of the questions. You are having very interesting questions. But will it not become an idealistic situation? Say today we used to speak very high of the institution of marriage in India. We used to speak, we should respect elders. We used to speak, the family relations keep us healthy. We used to say that we should have giant families. We used to say we should have the culture. But all this is happening. So the human touch in education will become an ideal concept. Yes, that is required. Everybody will agree, but nobody will practice. Now see the kind of marriages, the kind of divorces that we are seeing today. It is just because the two species have grown increasingly intolerant. Now, because what is very much required to continue a married life is the tolerance. And we all know this. The new research scholars who want to explore this teaching profession, are they not a big help of education system in future? Yes. See, the point that I am making, Miss Gausia Begum, is that we can't be relaxing with our own old set of skills. Unless you pick the new skills, unless you start your YouTube channel, you are going to be outdated. That's the point I'm making.
But what I really feel is, sir, that giving a theoretical knowledge about a subject is possible online. What about the technical skills?
That's what I told.
If a student is watching on YouTube how a person is turned into a soldier and if he's credited with the marks, can the army hire him?
I'll answer, though my answer is very radical. Sir, people are watching YouTube videos and making bombs, sir. Bombs.
What they are making bombs, they have not recruited in army.
No, I'll come to that. I'm just giving an example. What is technology? If people can watch YouTube videos can make bombs, what else can't be taught? So like I told you, for example, in medicine, where you need some hand holding, like surgery, etc., might continue to be face to face. The point that I'm trying to make is the proportion. See, today we have 10% learning online, 90% learning face to face. This gets reversed as we go along. That is the point I'm making. That means you will have more and more and more of online learning, less and less and less of face to face learning. See, even today, there are so many schools called concept schools, which teach you that the overall personality development, all-round learning is more important. And which tell you, it doesn't matter if you don't get an IIT seat. But which school is selling, sir? If you say that I don't train your student for IIT or NEET, but I train your son for all-round development, such schools are still there. We have such schools in India even today. But how many people go to that school? That is the question I'm making. That will answer most of your questions. Today, how many parents are preferring a concept school, which is promising you that I'll transform your child to a good human being, a good personality. I'll train him how to face life. So people are going to that school, or people are going to that school which says right from the first standard we have IIT coaching. Yeah, Aruna, I agree. Students are going to miss personal touch. So students, those who are going to IIT coaching, are already missing the parental affection, parental love. They're always with books. So they're carrying a lot of luggage, but who is bothered? That has become the new normal. Anyway, I'm very happy that most of you have responded, most of you have come out with a lot of good inputs and thinking. But then the fact remains that people have got this habit of getting used to quick fixes. Quick fixes means like fast food. And people have this what is called as technology addiction, like how we now got addicted to, right, the mobile phone, right? So what is going to be ultimately happening is that the personal touch, human touch, the relationships, the all-round personality, all of that are going to be important, but are not going to be available. So we should get ourselves ready. Today, if you have seen the news, there is some experiment going on in artificial intelligence, where they are saying people who are born beyond 1970, very soon this technology will be available. Those who are born beyond 1970 are not going to die. Are you listening to me? Yes, today you go through the news today. So that is very clearly given. People who are born after 1970 are not going to die. So they are going to come out with such solutions. So Syed, don't confuse your Google search with my medical degree. Is the reply of most of the physicians when we tell them about the side effects of a tablet or so. But then, Syed, you are a medical doctor or you are an academic doctor? Syed, I hope you are an academic doctor. But Syed, if you have observed today, most of the people are searching the drug and its utility in the internet the moment they buy. But most of the people are getting prescribed on internet. The doctors, they are not going. Side effects is a different issue. So this technology is such an enabler and it is such an addiction. That is the final conclusion. Fine. I should thank all of you for being wonderful audience today. Like I told you today, I had some timing issue. Actually, I have prepared for a class at 2:45, 2:15, that slot. But suddenly the slot got changed, and because of that, I had to come and take in a different slot. Though we started a little late, you should all excuse me that I'll have to close it now. In fact, I planned that I'll also teach you a little bit of leadership styles, but to that I'm not going. So I would like to end my lecture here, unless you have any other comments, any other issues. I'm stopping my PowerPoint. So you can just freely talk for a couple of minutes, not more, or you can type. So I have another 5 minutes to go. If Chitra madam is around, I would want her intervention.
I'm Rajesh here. Available. I'll be taking over from here. Yeah, participants and friends, if you are having any queries with Dr. I. Lokanath Reddy, you are free. You can ask him, you can clarify your doubts. Please. If anybody is not having any clarifications, shall I move ahead? So, thank you, Mr. Lokanand Reddy, for enlightening all our participants with the new age leadership skills. And I would like to invite Ms. Pavani to give feedback on this session. Over to you, Ms. Pavani.
Sir, is my voice audible, sir?
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
A pleasant good evening to Dr. I. Lokananda Reddy, sir, and Chitra madam, to all the participants. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this behalf. A big thank you to Dr. I. Lokananda Reddy, sir, for his efforts towards stopping changing role of academia, leadership in higher education. Today's lecture was full of knowledge and interesting points by mentioning the Mentimeter, where one can know the responses of the people. It gave deep insights into the topic and also revealed some interesting facts. Today, a day was really a day of learning. Sir has explained very clearly about the present education system, which is going to be changed like CBCS and ME, and ABC, and how these things were going to change our entire teaching fraternity. And Sir has rightly said about the aspects of life which is going to be different in the future generation. And Sir has also said about the present students' situation. We are really thank you, sir. You have inspired and made this session a wonderful session, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Yeah,
Hello?
on behalf of, thank you, Ms. Pavani. Thank you very much for your kind words.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, on behalf of Department of Humanities, I thank Dr. Lokanand Reddy for his nice lecture on leadership skills and enlightening all our participants, all the teaching fraternity. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. It was my pleasure joining all of you, and thank you all participants for being interactive. And then hope I gave you some information that will be useful. Keep working on that, and then this might look like simple predictions, but that's how the reality is shaping up. So going forward, it's all going to be more standardized world. So from the viewpoint of the teachers, it's a very, very pertinent question that we should all get ourselves prepared for this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Pleasure is ours. Thank you. Yeah, we'll wind up for today. Now, Mr. Ramanak.
Yes, you have any queries, you send in chat box. So now I am sending the feedback form. Please, all of you, fill the feedback form and send to the chat box. Thank you. Start this.
Sir, Rajesh sir.
Yeah. Please.
This is Vishwanath from RK Valley, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Vishwanath. How are you?
Fine, sir. Hope you are good there.
Yeah. I'm good. Absolutely.
Just have a doubt. Can we leave the class now or any classes?
No.
Just you post your attendance in the feedback form and you can leave, sir.
I'll post it, sir. I'll post it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Madam is there.
No, I thought that would be sent later, so I'm asking.
Just 2 minutes. I'll post it.
Okay. Fine. Carry on.
You can do the thing and you can fill up whether if you want it there, definitely. Yeah.
Take your own thing. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Vishnu. Thank you.
Sir, session is completed.
Yes, madam.
So I thought it is up to 5:30. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, please click on the link and fill the form. Okay, please.
Good.